And we return to Book 11 of Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey, where we enter the kingdom of the dead. Now, if you have yet to catch up to this point in the story, or have just stumbled across this video, then down in the description below is a link to a playlist where you can listen to the entire epic poem as it is being recorded. And if you would like a copy of the Odyssey with the Iliad attached, there is also an affiliate link where you can purchase a copy to follow along. Or if you want the more poetic version, you can also find the link to the Fagles translation of the Odyssey below. But without further ado and no more stalling for time, we begin with the Homeretic epic that is the Odyssey, with the visit to the dead. Now, I did lie partially there. It was a half-truth and a whole lie. Before we begin, it is very important to note that this visit to the land of the dead is the very first known instance of this now symbolic trope that appears in many heroes' journeys after this story of living up to his responsibilities, challenging his ability to own and know his own future, presenting a tremendous physical and mental task. Now, with that out of the way, on to Book 11, which is an interesting cross-section of the past, present, and future. Odysseus set sail from Circe's island, which, as a little fun fact, is located near Mount Cicero, near Italy. Once out to sea, Odysseus sets up a sacrifice to Hades and the dead in order to be granted passage into the land of the dead. Now, once their ship arrives in the land of the dead, the crew actually encounters Elpenor first, who, if you remember from last time, was the guy who won the the most epic death of the entire series, and my favorite character of the entire poem. Now, Elpenor first scolds the crew and tells them to bury him, giving him his last rights and ability to pass through. Next, Odysseus meets his mother, Anticlea, who had died of grief unbeknownst to him. This is the last ghost he meets before meeting Tiresias, who has his uncanny ability to accurately predict the future, but just like Cassandra before him, no one ever listens to him. Here, Tiresias gives some advice, telling Odysseus to tell the crew to never eat the cattle of Helios. He also tells them that he will make it home, but that he needs to be very careful and make sure that he leaves a decent sacrifice to Poseidon. Odysseus then recounts his meeting with Heracles, who, as a quick side note, is the Greek name for the hero, but the more well-known for him is Hercules, which is actually the Roman name, which is odd because the name Hercules is still used with the Greek gods in most people's memories and even inside of the Disney story. I just find that really funny. You take the Roman name with the Greek gods rather than just keep the Greek name with the Greek gods. But I digress. The next hero he sees is his old rival, Aias the Greater, who ignores him before walking away, still holding on to his anger, even after his death. Now, I won't spoil it here, as Aias Omegas is a very interesting story, and I will make a video on that particular poem in the future. He then meets with Achilles, who asks of him how his son is doing after his death, to which Odysseus responds with how brave his son was at Troy. And upon hearing of his son's prosperous future, Achilles skips happily off back into the lands of the dead. And next up, he meets Agamemnon, who berates his own treacherous wife. He is clearly not very happy about being murdered, even though he ignored Cassandra's warnings, which, fair enough, just like everyone else in Greece does. The prophecy of doom at the... Cassandra's warnings were the prophecies of doom at the hand of his wife. And this is the exact same way that Troy, the big Iliad story, the Trojan horse, they failed to listen to her prophecy that taking Helen will bring doom and death to the city. Agamemnon actually says that his wife's murder represents a betrayal of all women, and that Odysseus needs to be skeptical of Penelope and be careful as he returns home to her. Now, this is some serious foreshadowing that explains his deceptive behavior when he returns home, as he hides his identity, his motives, and his intentions to his own family and servants upon making it back home. And with that, Book 11 comes to a close. And if you are enjoying these summaries and explanations, then don't hesitate to subscribe and like. But if I can improve anything anywhere, then please let me know in the comments down below. And with that, I look forward to seeing